What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we've reached a new epic low for Hollywood. It would appear that Hollywood has completely lost its mind, has been completely overrun with incredible heartache, even calling it cancel culture, after the step down and resignation of New York creep governor Andrew Cuomo. Now, I understand that there are many cases of politicians getting witch hunted. This happens. We saw this with like Brett Kavanaugh, for example. They're dredging up people from 50 years ago that suddenly have perfect memory of every little thing that ever happened, and now they have GoFundMes where they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I understand that that happens. I also understand that it's a different time in 2021 where telling a woman she looks good is literal R word. But what Andrew Cuomo did was none of these things. This is a man that, due to, according to testimony, during a selfie with an employee, put his hand up her shirt and grabbed a big old handful of that delicious, smooth, buttery sweater meat, while also placing his hand on her rear. There's other terrible things that this creep did, who, by the way, blamed it on being Italian. I'll have you know, my wife is Italian, and she's not anything like Andrew Cuomo. All right, so this guy is a creep. This goes without mentioning the tens of thousands that lost their lives, that he crammed in, at the elderly during the height of the coup. He received a daytime Emmy for his daily press briefings, while tens of thousands of elderly died. And now he just gets to resign, and everyone's going to forget it all. That's what's going to happen, and that's what's really, really heartbreaking about all of this. But Hollywood is upset. They're calling it cancel culture. They can't believe that an absolute degenerate creep like Andrew Cuomo was forced to step down. By the way, if you're watching this video and you aren't subscribed, I hope today will be the day I earn your subscription. There's a red subscribe button down below the video. It takes just a second, even if you have to create an account. Would greatly appreciate earning your subscription today. We've gone a little stagnant, and I know that when channels do that, YouTube tends to bury them a bit. So hopefully if you aren't subscribed, you'll hit that subscribe button now. Alec Baldwin blames cancel culture for the resignation of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and declares it a tragic day. Woke Hollywood actor and raging left-wing activist Alec Baldwin has blamed cancel culture for the resignation of Andrew Cuomo, completely disregarding the claims that have been made against him. This is also a hashtag believe all women guy. This is a Hollywood, Time's Up guy. By the way, the leader of Time's Up also resigned after trying to discredit one of the female, one of the women on the receiving end of his Italianness, as he puts it. Cuomo announced Tuesday that he would be stepping down as governor of the city of New York following the recent conclusion that he had been an absolute Italian to 11 women. Of the 11 that came forward, 9 are current or former state employees, including an executive assistant, a New York State trooper, and 2 state entity employees. New York Attorney General Letitia James told reporters that none of them welcomed it and all of them found it uncomfortable. Now, again, I assume that this all ranged from, telling someone she looked beautiful that day to maximum creepiness. But I only need the one case to know that probably everything else is true too. Throughout the investigation, the soon-to-be former governor has maintained he's committed no such wrongdoings, even releasing a statement shortly after the report was made public, fervently denying that he ever made any of these advances, saying, "I want you to know directly from me, I never touched anyone inappropriately or made these type of advances." Now, could these women be completely lying? Yeah, they could be. Gonna have to prove that. I don't think that, some of these, especially the ones that have remained anonymous, are. there's always a modicum of suspicion when somebody comes out publicly and then immediately benefits from it financially. We saw this with Stormy Daniels and Trump, right? Although, yeah, completely backfired on her. But I'll look up where her lawyer is now too. Basta. But there is, when there's GoFundMe's for Blase Ford that are like $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever, I think it's human nature to be like, this is a little bizarre. But a lot of these women have remained anonymous. Enter woke celebrity Alec Baldwin, who in the following Cuomo's resignation claimed that the politician's departure was a direct result of cancel culture. Regardless of what you think of Cuomo, this is a tragic day, wrote Baldwin to his 1 million followers on Twitter, without even mentioning the factual evidence that had been presented against Cuomo. He continued, party politics in his country drew ambitious politics in this country draw ambitious but ultimately isolated, even socially maladjusted men and women who give the current cancel culture will likely have their shortcomings exposed and magnified. What? This isn't this what your camp calls consequence culture? You just know that Alec Baldwin has some skeletons in his closet, even more than we already know about. This on top of the hilarious egg in the face of weirdos that call themselves Cuomo, whatever, a non-friendly word, like Trevor Noah, like Chelsea Handler, like Ellen DeGeneres. None of them, by the way, bothering to come out and disavow this man's behavior. This isn't the first time Baldwin has openly admitted that cancel culture is rather problematic. In May this year, Baldwin took to social media to condemn the practice, writing, cancel culture is like a forest fire in consistent need of fuel. Functioning objectively, no prejudice, no code, just destroy, the deserving and undeserving alike. Predictably, the left-wing actor did not condemn the cancel culture mob until they targeted his wife, Hilaria Baldwin, earlier this year and accused her of cultural appropriation for putting on a fake Spanish accent when speaking in English. To a certain degree, one could understand and maybe even sympathize with the actor's decision to speak out against cancel culture, especially after someone close to him was targeted. However, blaming Cuomo's resignation on cancel culture is taking things too far. It's also ridiculous. This guy, by the way, is a lunatic. And it's not just him. I mean, finally, totally unbiased hero of the regular people, Stephen Colbert, comes out. I mean, if you look at Trevor Noah, by the way, getting Trevor Noah mocked as his Cuomo Spiceual clip resurfaces. Even after he says New York has successfully flattened the curve, but with the P. Why is he muted? Anyway, you see, shows Trevor Noah is in love with Cuomo. Ellen's in love with Cuomo. I mean, this is a guy that he completely. That's weird. Why is it? Let me fix that. Yes, it doesn't say it's muted. That's weird. Anyway, stop tweeting and tell us when you're coming back. Lord, will it finally be? I mean, this is a guy. My Tinder profile now lists me as a Cuomo Spiceual. This you? Here's a video. The one who's crushing it the most. The one governor who's crushing it the most right now is Andrew Cuomo. Yes. Thanks to his handling, his approval rating has soared to a 7-year high. Isn't it funny? I mean, this has got to be hilarious. Not to mention all the people in New York that are happy to see him go for like rulership reasons for his decisions. But this is a guy who was awarded a daytime Emmy. You know why Hollywood was obsessed with him? It's very obvious. It's because he was an anti-Trumper. He was constantly going to battle with Trump, putting partisan politics before his city. But I guess you got to do something when you're not putting elderly people in retirement homes and getting them sick. But you see, All of Hollywood. Absolutely. You see, Baldwin has before criticized what we described as cancel culture. It's not the first time he's railed against it. Well, because his wife was culturally appropriating. This is the problem when Hollywood people, people pay to see their movies. Suddenly, they think that they have something important to say or that we care about what they have to say. We don't. You are the nation's court jesters. You are there to entertain us. Has Alec Baldwin been funny before? Sure. I think he was probably pretty funny on 30 Rock. But do I give two rips about what he has to say about politics in this country? No, he's worth $100 million. He doesn't relate to me in any possible way, shape, or form. The only people that actually listen to them are the ones that are need that confirmation bias. That, oh, he's saying something I believe in, therefore I must also be right. Why would Alec Baldwin's word hold any more weight than anyone else's? Because he goes on a movie screen, I guess. What a just a bunch of absolute idiots. Trevor Noah, Alec Baldwin, Chelsea Handler, Stephen Colbert. All these people look absolutely idiotic after all this. And I love it. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.